Hello. Hello, we are live everywhere. Glad to be here. Excited to share with you. We are talking about bare to fully decorated. And actually, I'm going to bring up my notes that I want to talk to you about this theme today. I'm excited to be live with you, to share with you. I love your comments and your participation in the conversation that we have. So please do ask me questions. Ask me questions. Let's have a conversation today. Hi, Jane. All right. How's everybody doing today on Wednesday? If you're digging this, please invite your friends. Tell your friends we're here. From bare to fully decorated. First of all, I actually just want to share something that happened today that was so fantastic. I just had the last session from the Fall Compass cycle, and it was our sixth session, our 6-month program, our last session. Although our mentorship continues, and actually, so we had the last session, and it was so beautiful. Everybody was sharing that they're really sad it's over, that they're really grateful that our weekly momentum meetings will continue because they're going to continue to get mentorship from me. And what was said that was so moving to me was how they felt so supported by the group, by the artists themselves, that they don't want to stop having the connection. They found their people in this group, that there wasn't a sense of competition, which they generally feel in the music industry or they feel in Los Angeles. They were like, there were places that you and I align artistically and you and I align artistically, but there's no competition or jealousy. We really went through this process together, and people were crying, and I'm so grateful and so touched and so glad that that's what they got out of the program. That not just the growth of their artistic vision, which, holy moly, when I tell you the brand decks that people are creating, the new music that they're creating, the new visuals that they're creating, each person is like gotten so specific and so clear and so elevated, and it thrills me like that. Are helping someone, empowering you to help you open up your and elevate your artistic vision is thrilling to me. And in addition, for everybody to say that what they got out of it was a community and a support system, and I'm like, this is your Laurel Canyon. That just, again, it thrills me. It is purposeful to my life. It is meaningful to my life to empower artists and to create a community. So I'm so thrilled by that. And our live event in Los Angeles, Amplify. If you follow me, if you join my mailing list, you will know when we're doing Amplify, which is an opportunity to connect in person in LA with artists and creatives and industry professionals, as well as follow Amplify_music series. I'll put it in the chat for you, because that's where you'll see what we're creating there, and you'll find out what's happening. But I definitely recommend my newsletter, because even with following someone on socials, you don't always see all the posts. But you can get a taste of it here. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Amazing. So that was just, thank you. Thank you, Christy. Yes, it is a gift. It's a gift that I get to share and give, and it's a gift that comes back to me because it's amazingly rewarding. So I'm going to be watching for your comments. Please share with me. Today we're talking about bare to fully decorated. And my number one example for this story, I'm going to tell you a story about a creative experience that I had working with Josh Klausner, writer, director, on a film called Wonderland. And Josh was referred to me by Sir Paul McCartney. But Sir Paul McCartney, I got an email that said, Sir Paul McCartney referred me to you. And I was like, that does not happen every day, which was fun enough. And we worked vocals and I worked with him as a coach. And then he said, I'd like to woo you to be a part of this film that I'm making, and I'd love you to be the music supervisor. Now, I love film. If you know me, you know I love movie making. I love storytelling, and I love the visuals. So I love telling a story through visuals. I've seen like everything. I've just seen everything. I've seen great movies, B movies. Like, I love storytelling. I love watching them. It turns out I actually love sci-fi films. It surprised me when I realized that I like that genre. And what I realized was I like sci-fi films are often like incredibly cinematic, and set design is out of this world, literally. And then the stories are very spiritual, humanity, often concepts of reincarnation, classism. And so the stories are actually quite deep and important about humanity. So, welcome everybody that you're joining me. So, Maria, oh, Renata told you about me. Oh, Renata's an amazing photographer and artist and human being. And I'm so glad that she shared this with you so that you came and join us. Hi, Maria. Look forward to checking out your music. So, Josh Klausner invited me and wanted to bring me in to be the music supervisor for this film, Wonderland. And this process was an incredible, incredible creative process. First, from my standpoint, I talked about this last week in terms of success coming when you're in over your head. So first of all, it was such a wonderful challenge to do something really with my skill set, but out of my comfort zone. So that was exciting to me. And creatively, what was so cool and what I want to highlight today is we wrote, how many did we write? I think it's about 11 original songs. He had songs that I said, I think that we need to rewrite these. I think they can be stronger songs. They're really cool narratives. As a screenwriter, he wrote a story. And as a songwriter, I wanted to make like strong hooks and make them stronger songs with the narrative of his storytelling. So myself, another creative that I brought in, and Josh worked on the songwriting, and then I co-produced them and I coached all the artists, both live on set, which was really fun, and in the studio, music, vocal producing and producing. So when I talk about bare to fully decorated, when this process started, Josh said to me, I really hear just like the artist singing like with a guitar. So all these songs, very like Tom Waits-esque in that kind of realm, just very raw vocal and a guitar, all right? And no score, just no score. So the idea was his initial creative vision was this is going to be very bare, right? Super bare, vocal, single instrument, just a guitar. And I do think that comes from the fact that he writes on a guitar, and so he's hearing the songs just guitar and vocal, and also just the concept of wanting it to be really simple and clean. Um, and my response to that was no, no, you don't. No, no, my response was I'm hearing more production on a few of these songs. Like they really need to have like an arc. One of the songs is Father, and it has a big like build, and it has like a, for me, I was hearing like kind of like the Doors, and it has big drums, like drums. So what I said was, I hear more decorated, right? But I know what you're asking for. You want this singer-songwriter kind of vibe. You want a troubadour feeling, but I don't think that every song having the same texture is going to actually give what you want as a result. In the result, I know what you want the result to be. I don't think that's going to get us there. I also hear like different instrumentation more for each song. Like also, Adele singing vocal and piano. Everybody isn't a strong enough artist or storyteller to pull that off. And that's maybe not even a fair statement to make. A great song should just be able to be heard on a single instrument, vocals, great song. But every artist, vocally, storytelling wise, performance wise, may not be able to carry a song just with one instrument. It's just a lot harder. There can be so much more support for a song and a performance with background vocals or strings or what have you. So we went from I Want It Really Bare with no soundtrack. And then I said, I think that emotionally, we will not prepare the audience. It'll be very literally out of silence to a song and then silence to a song. And a score will help emotionally take us into the song and then emotionally take us into the song. So Josh, who's an incredible creative, heard me and processed that and was open to the fact of saying, okay, I hear what you're saying. And he was so open to my creativity. And so working with him was just one of my favorite creative endeavors, that now he's sending me texts with, oh, this song, I have this 1920s banjo. I think that song would be great with the banjo. That became um, the leading instrument on that song. Another song I heard more fully produced. Another song, and he kept sending me instrument ideas for the songs, and then he found an incredible composer who Sven, who worked on Maleficent, which is a film that I love with fairies and otherworldliness, an incredible story theme, incredible message. And so we went from this idea of bare to fully decorated, and the soundtrack has so much arc and so much difference, and this song has acoustic guitars, and this song has uh, piano, bass, drums, more fully produced, and this song was done on a harpsichord, and the artist actually, the actress played it while she sang, and she did it um, live on set, and that's the recorded version, is the version is that. Um, so my point being that sometimes when we have this vision of your end game, can you be open to the changes? Can you be open to the creativity and where it actually takes you, as opposed to getting stuck on your idea of what it should be? And then finding out sometimes that, like, oh, the idea that I want isn't getting me the end result that I actually was looking for. So what will get me there? And this is where I want you to, I would love your comments. I'm going to look at the comments and respond too. I would love some comments and some thoughts about, where have you experienced this? Where have you experienced, I mean, I think we experience it every time we produce a song, that when you've written the song and then you start to produce it, and I feel like it's like a garden that grows out of the earth. The song comes to life with production. And sometimes the song that was your absolute favorite, when you go to produce it, is not giving you what you want. It's not feeling as strong at the end. And then some other song that you thought was like, it wasn't really, it was good. It was on the record. Like I picked it to produce, but wow, it's just taken like on a whole new life once we got to bring it to life through production. So I think every time you produce, from song to production, that we have this process, this experience happens. So are you open to going where the experience is leading you, to adjusting to what is being shown to you through the process, to getting simple if simple is what is needed, to getting bigger if bigger is what is needed? And you are saying, do I think that some are afraid to step into a bigger sound? Sure. Why not? I think that I think we all as people have ideas of who we are, and they're not always accurate. In fact, probably most of the time, they're not very accurate. Our ideas are coming from uh, people that, how they've seen us, how They've told us who we are. If you came from a family that wasn't super supportive, you have ideas about yourself of unworthiness that are absolutely not true. Um, if you grew up in a town that was big on football and you're a creative artist, you may not have gotten the support to see how amazing you are. And it takes moving or hopping online and finding your people to start to feel yourself and feel empowered. So I think that we all have ideas of what we think we are, and that it takes both looking at yourself and publicly putting your music out there and writing to actually start to even discover more of who you are. Like, oh, I thought I was that, but actually, I really like the songs I write like this, or I like when I'm singing and I'm more intimate, or you start to find out through doing and sharing publicly, you find out more specifically. You find out through the Compass program. One of the artists in the program um, was saying, through my sound chart program, which is a process where we look at the music you love, start to actually discover what you actually like about the music you love, and then it distills into a recipe. And this is your recipe for your sound, which you then go into the studio and bring to life, which is the next step of really discovering the sound through the process of doing and producing and bringing it to life. So they said, for example, one artist said, I thought I was super eclectic in my musical taste. I thought that like I love all this different kinds of music. But actually, what I found is that no matter what the genre, what I love about all the music is at its core the same. And then we looked at what that core was, because that's what needs to be in their music. That's what they love. So the idea of themselves was, I'm super eclectic. My music's a lot of everything. But actually, they found out, no, my music is X, Y, Z, A, D, G, and R. And another artist um, thought they were very 80s, but when they actually started pulling all the music and looking at everything, they're like, nope, it's my stuff isn't 80s. And even the stuff that they, and I'm not going to be specific because this is their recipe. I'm not going to share their recipe, but I'm going to share process and a little vagueness with it. Um, they found that they primarily liked two different styles of music from two different eras, and they were saying, I'm not sure how to bring them together. And I was like, well, let's look at the modern stuff. And again, what I heard was the modern stuff actually is just a modern version of the older stuff. I don't think that there's a huge difference to any of it. It's like if you watch a film and you can see it's from the 1970s or the 80s, and you can tell because of the film grain, but the and then the dialogue will be different and the pacing will be different. But a sci-fi film from the 80s or the 70s and a sci-fi film today is essentially the same, but the film quality changed, and the some of the references changed and the dialogue changed. But it's like, oh, actually, I still love sci-fi, or or it's a crime novel, it's a crime story, but it's still a crime story. So when we listen to the modern stuff, I was like, I just hear that it's the recording process is different, but I still hear, and we talked about like 7 or 8 elements that were actually quite the same. And then we'd find the distinct parts. So I think that it all starts with an idea. Everything starts with an inspiration, right? Your imagination, your inner vision. And then in the process of doing, putting it into action, it's very important to allow yourself to go where it's asking to go. Let the song go where it's asking to go. Let the idea evolve and not get just stuck on the first part, not get stuck on the initial idea only. And then also to say, okay, well, that's my idea of it, but the execution isn't happening. So what can I adjust to get the execution to be what I want it to be? What needs to change to get the result I want? But you might get there in a different way. And are you open to that? Are you open to getting somewhere in a different way? I think that's essential. I think that's essential for creativity and artistry and your own evolution. And to go beyond an idea and into a creation. going to answer some questions over here. How old am I? Well, my first question is curious why you want to know. I mean, I don't mind telling you, but I'm just curious why uh, motivation for asking. Hello from Ireland. Hi, and hello from Paris. I am 54. I am 54. Oh, you like my style. That's amazing. Thank you. Oh, and you like the lamp. Me too. This is the lamp she's referring to. It's like a magenta hot pink when it lights up, and it's really fun. Oh, and this one. You like this one. You're seeing the white one, I think. Yeah, this one's very fun too. Um, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Jessie J's Nobody's Perfect. Um, okay, awesome. Um, Thank you. Yes, I really, if I can save artists, uh, Josh Klausner, I'm so glad you joined. I don't know if you're aware. If you didn't, you're gonna have to watch some of the recording of this later. But I just told a whole story about us and about you and Wonderland. The entire theme of today's conversation is going from bare to fully decorated, and our process of working together on Wonderland. Of it's starting with your inspired and imagination, your idea of I want these songs and performances to be very bare, guitar and vocal, to where we went, which became more produced, more variety, and actual composition and score to the film that went, that led us into the songs. And I love that you're here. So thank you, Josh. Go check out Wonderland, which is streams on all your platforms. So you can check out the film and you can see what I'm talking about in this creative process. It really was just one of my favorite creative experiences I've had working with Josh, because there was so much, just such a collaborative experience. And Josh started the process with me when he hired me to say, I welcome all your creativity. Like, I welcome, like, let's talk about casting. I was involved in the editing process and was able to give thoughts and feedback, and not just me, obviously, like there were other people there, but my ideas were welcome. It wasn't, hey, this is your role, don't overstep. So open. So that same idea, right, of bare to fully decorated, like I was invited to decorate. I was invited to contribute. I was invited. One artist that I'm working with right now, who I absolutely love, um, is working with a team that they put together, a team of different people that are all working on their album to produce it, and each person actually has several skills. Um, a musician, an engineer, a songwriter, a producer, like they all wear many hats, but they're all working as one team to produce the album. And I love that. I told her, I was like, I'm so impressed that you've pulled this team together and they're all working as one creative flow to bring their best to make each song um, the best it can be for her. And they're amazing. The songs are sounding incredible. So where are you in your process, or how do you work with yourself? Can you go from the imagination that you have and the idea that you have at its first form or simplest form, or the, again, the idea of this is the result I want, and can you allow yourself to allow it to evolve from, whether it's from you or from a collaboration process, to then let it be what it's meant to be, let it be what it could really be, and not hold yourself back by holding to an idea. At the same time, that idea leads you where you're like, if it's like, oh, this is what I want, but we're not getting there. So what can I tweak to get there? What can we tweak to get there? And if you've tweaked several times and you're not getting there, there's somewhere else you're supposed to be. There's somewhere else that song or that creative endeavor, that video is asking to go. So I think that creativity is a balance between um, like being clear about your vision and allowing the magic of creativity to like put a little wind in your sails and redirect you, whether that's 3 degrees or 15 degrees or 180 degrees, to go where you're meant to go. So, how is that for you? How is that creative process for you? Are you able to go with the flow? Are you able to write the song that's being asked to written, that is asking to be written? Do you stick to your guns to a detrimental point? Like, because I don't think it's ever about giving up your vision. It's not that, but it is allowing the creative process to elevate, enhance your creative vision. You know, Slack. Do you know the app Slack? If you've worked in a company at any point, you've probably used Slack. It's a it's basically like a messenger for for big companies and groups where you can have multiple threads and talk about different things and people can chat back and forth. So there can be instant conversation and you're not texting on a phone. Okay. I think this is a great example of how something like this shifts and happens. Hey, JJ. Yeah. So, Slack, I listened to a podcast called How I Built This. And it's a phenomenal podcast of companies and how they were very successful, very, very successful companies, and how they were created, the inspiration, the hard work, the overcoming of challenges, the pivots, like everything. And it's really a cool podcast. I find it super inspiring because I think entrepreneurs and artists, you are entrepreneurs, you are your own business. Um, there's no straight line, and how we get somewhere can be so squiggly. And the story around Slack was the guys who created Slack had a gaming company and they were creating a game, a video game. And I think they were I'm going to hopefully remember all the details correctly, but they were about 4 years in and they realized this video game is not going to happen. Like this, we have worked this idea and it's not working. So they decided we're going to let go of this idea and stop investing in it. Before they did that, they spent 2 weeks helping everybody on the team work their resumes and get a job. Before they closed shop and laid everybody off, they helped everybody get a job that they loved and that was equal pay or higher. So integrity all around, amazing. And then they were, they're just, being inquisitive. Okay, well, what's our next idea? Like, where are we going next? What can we do next? What can we develop next? What's our next creative entrepreneurial adventure? And what they found were that the people on their team would come back to them. A few people came back to them and said, hey, you know that internal messaging service that we used? Can we get that? Because this new company I work with doesn't have anything like it. And we really need it. That was such a great, and the light bulb went off and they're like, that's our next venture. Like, let's take this. They had a program that they created for their own internal and said, oh, other companies want this. And that became what is now what we know as Slack, which basically every company uses. So it's this pivot idea, right? It's this idea of in this case, they're, ping-ponging ideas, contemplating, looking for inspiration, and then it revealed itself. Hey, this is what people need. Oh, let's create it and supply it. As a creative, as a songwriter, as an artist, those ideas are coming from you, right? The song idea comes from you. It literally comes out of nowhere, from empty page to song, from nothing to a production, from zero to a vocal arrangement. Like, it is magic. It is skill. It is craft. Please let it be craft. Without the craft, we actually create shit. It's the mediocre stuff. But it is magic. The process every single time, from blank page to a melody and a lyric and a story. Amazing. And can you work with yourself? Can you work with your collaborators in a way that takes you from idea, I'll use song to album, and goes beyond your original idea into the magic that it's meant to be, into the creative form it's meant to be? Can you allow yourself to be open and do the unexpected? Can you let yourself be surprised? Can you let yourself enjoy the experience of being surprised? You know, when I co-write, I'm a lyricist. I love lyrics. I love the storytelling. And I remember recently with an artist, I said, "Oh, I love that line in the song." And she said, "Oh, you wrote that one." I was like, "I did? Oh, that's right, I did. Wait, I wrote the first half and then Paul wrote the back end, right?" And she said, "Yes, he gave us those last words." I was like, "I love that." But a lot of times, a favorite line for me will be what someone else contributed. I'll be like, "Oh, I just love that line. It was so beautiful." And it was somebody else's. Or I'll say, "Oh my gosh, I love that line. And I can't even believe I wrote it." Like, it didn't even feel like it came from me, because it came from higher source. It came from the the catacombs of my own experience. It came from 7 past lives ago. Like, it I don't feel I have I mean, I know what it takes to write a song and the work I can put into it. But at the same time, it's so much bigger. It's so I'm sure if you ever recorded a song and you go back and you listen to it 2 days later, giving yourself space from it, and then you go, "Oh my gosh, we did that." Because it's just, the details when you're in them, but then when you see the big picture later and you're like, wow, it can you allow yourself to be surprised? Can you allow yourself to let go of the control, the idea, enough to let the unexpected and the surprises be inserted and come to life so that what you create surprises you? That's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage you to go from bare to decorated, from idea to fulfillment, to satisfaction. And that means being open. It does mean listening to your inner voice. It does mean listening to your inner vision. And it means allowing the vision to evolve to where it's going to thrive, be thrilling, and surprising even to you. Any comments on that? Any thought on that? Any, yeah. Any thoughts on these ideas that I'm saying? I'd love to hear a little bit of conversation before we wrap. Yeah. What do you want to share about it? What do you want to say in response to that? If I'm saying your name correctly, Bodian, you're saying that you have ideas musically. Here we are. We're going from idea to execution. So you're sharing some ideas you have. Go play with the idea. Go into the studio. Sit at the piano. However you play. Go play with the idea that you're having, and then can you allow the idea to elevate and change and tweak until it is what it's meant to be in its alive form? So I love that you have the ideas. Now go execute them. And in the executing, give yourself freedom. Freedom to change direction, freedom to evolve the idea itself. Let the idea itself evolve. Carlito, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. The obese Jesus. I want to go look at your profile now. I love that. That's amazing. Well, I want to say thank you for joining me. If anyone does want to share anything, you can DM me also. Put it in the chat. If you have topics you'd like me to cover, please ask me. Join my mailing list. Let me drop that in here for you. Join my mailing list because you will get blog posts, you will get event information, you will get when we have offers on different programs that I have, all this stuff. You think you're in the space that you have an idea, but, ooh, what's the but? What's the but? Okay. You know where you want it to go, but you're not there yet. Well, that's what I'm talking about is you have an idea of where you want it to go. And then when you put it in action and start playing with it, can you allow it to go where it's taking you? Yes, keep at it. Exactly. I'll give you another example. The Amplify event that we just did in Los Angeles. The Amplify event is artists that I work with performing, a roundtable conversation and Q&A, and networking for artists, creatives, and music industry pros. And then the LA fires happened, and I thought either this is going to be a fundraiser, or I'm going to cancel it because it seems really inappropriate to do. And then I had some conversation with artists and people I work with and some people in the music industry, and they all said, actually, by end of April, we like so much is being canceled right now. Not April. It was when was the event? March. End of March. End of was it end of March? End of February. End of February. A couple weeks after the Grammys. And they said we'd really love to bring community together. So if you turn it into a fundraiser, and we're going to want community. So that was amazing. So this is my idea of what I want this to be: a community connection event, an opportunity to talk about authenticity and the creative process and artist development. And then the fires happen. Pivot. It's now a fundraiser. Started doing sponsorship for the fundraiser. Here's how we're going to donate. And then throughout the whole process, 2 weeks before the event, we turned it into we added a silent auction. Had no intention of doing a silent auction. Everything was money for donating directly to Music Cares, LA Fire Relief, and direct donations to people who need it. And then we started getting physical donations and some of the in kind as well that were like, oh, these are amazing. We should do a silent auction to raise more money and to give these in silent auction form. So here's what's going to be silent auction. Here's what's going to be in kind. The idea went from, I'm going to say bare. It wasn't a small idea. It was a big idea to start with, but it went from bare to fully decorated. And I was surprised through the process. Okay, now it's a fundraiser. What do we do to make that happen? Oh, now we have a silent auction. Let's let people know. What do we need to do to facilitate that? Oh, we're having a roundtable and panel, and Rafa Sardina and Ross Hogarth and Daniel Lipton have joined this panel now. 26 Grammys between Ross and Rafa, or 24 Grammys, like amazing. Okay, how's this panel now evolving? So my idea doing solo to my idea that stemmed from me, and then working with the event producer and then the fundraiser and everything that happened, this idea kept evolving and evolving and evolving. And then it became what it was, which is a gorgeous community fundraiser. The energy was amazing. The music community coming together, absolutely incredible. Really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Bodhi, and I don't think that's right to call victims people who lost everything in the fire, and basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Blame the victim. I don't think that's justified or righteous or humble or kind. And to think that you know that is something to question. So, this idea, bare to fully decorated, allow yourself the opportunity to explore your ideas and allow them to evolve into what they can be and want to be. And in that process, enjoy it, be surprised, go with the unexpected, embrace it, and make choices all along the way that feel good to you and align to the concept that you're creating. Super fun process. You all, thank you for joining me. Back next week for my next live. DM me, ask me questions. I would love to hear topics that you'd like me to cover. We do vocal technique and artist development and creativity and mindset, all of the above and more. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate the conversation and the comments. I love having a dialogue with you. Maria, you're so welcome. Feel free to say hi. And again, join my mailing list, get my blogs, get my creative writing, find out when we have offers and events. I'll see you all later. From me in Paris, good night. Have a wonderful day if you're somewhere else where the sun is coming up. Cheers.